I think there is no single bigger issue that we are facing. And let me tell you why that is. If we had not passed health care reform, not we, sorry. If they had not passed and signed into law, I'm not going to take credit for the stupid stuff. Not this stupid stuff anyway. But if that had not been the case, if we don't do cap and trade, if we don't put millions of illegal aliens, make them almost immediately eligible for federal and state assistance by granting amnesty, if we don't do any of that, we are still $1.6 trillion in the red this year. And on January 1, 2011, when the tax cuts that we put in place in 2011, the tax cuts that we put in place in 2001, when they sunset, and when we have one of the most massive automatic tax increases on our economy on January 1, 2011, do you know what that's going to do to our economy? And what that resulting devastation to our economy and jobs and revenue base and tax revenue to the federal government, do you know what that's going to do to our deficit? It's going to explode. It's going to explode. And if we don't get that under control, our children will face an economic catastrophe that we likely will have never witnessed. I mean, I don't think you'll even be able to compare the Great Depression to it. Because we will have this massive debt that we will owe to our creditors. And if that's the case, and if we default on that, then what will our currency be worth? This is not like a state defaulting and the federal government coming in and infusing a bunch of cash into their government spending. No, no, no. This is the federal government. The federal government that, according to Article 1, Section 8, has power to coin money and regulate the value thereof. The government, now we have a situation with the Fed now, Federal Reserve, which is different situation, but it's the same thing. There is still the full faith and credit of the United States government behind all of this. And if we default, if we can't pay, if our debtors, excuse me, our creditors, if our creditors stop showing up at Treasury auctions and don't buy our debt that we have to sell them so that we can pay them back what we owe them from previous debt cycles, and not only will they not give us money so that we can give them money, but we have to pay them the money back that we owe them anyway. So we are in a situation, folks, where 2010 may be and is likely the most important election that anyone in this room will have ever witnessed. Because who's to say, if we don't make the right changes in 2010, who's to say what consequence 2012 is going to be, one way or another? I can't guarantee that. But I can guarantee you this, that if you choose to send me to Washington, D.C. as your next senator, that there will never be a loss of a cry out of Washington, D.C. to change. And I don't mean change for change's sake, like America got in 2008. Yes. We don't want, we need to get the work done. We need to get the work done for the next generation. And that's going to take all of us, because if we're all not willing to do this, or 51% of us are not willing to do this, then it's going to be a very bleak tomorrow. Very bleak tomorrow. And if I thought that was the case, then I would just find a cave somewhere. But it doesn't have to be that way. It does not have to be that way. We can change what's going on. We can turn this ship of state around. We can resolve that we will secure for ourselves and our posterity the blessings of liberty that were passed on to us. It does not have to be that way. But it has to be. But it's going to take you just as much as it's going to take me. Just as much. Because without you, I can do nothing. I I can't go to Washington. I can't get through the primary on May 4th. I can't get through the general election in November. I can't take the oath of office in January. I can't do it without you. Don't think that John Hostettler doesn't know what this is about. This is much less about me than it is about you. Much less about what my future and much more about Matthew, Amanda, Jacqueline, and Jared's future. That's what it's about. And so there are so many things at stake in America today. And if we are willing to do the hard work and be vigilant through May, through November, through January, and afterwards. Let me just say this. I met a gal who's become a very good friend, very active in the Tea Party movement, a leader in the Tea Party movement. And we sat down and talked. We talked for about 2 hours. And after she talked, she said, you know, John, my one goal in this whole process was to replace Evan Bayh. That's my one goal. That's my only goal. And when we replace Evan Bayh, then I can go home and I can relax. And I said, no, you can't. Because that's what got us in this problem in the first place. It's been said that the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. Eternal vigilance. Do you know what eternal means? That means you can stop one day after you die. That's when you get to stop waking up every single day saying, how am I going to preserve my liberty and my family's liberty?